A Gantt chart is a type of bar chart that illustrates a project schedule. Well, that's what Wikipedia says, bar chart. So does that mean we can take the native bar chart visual and turn it into a Gantt chart? Well, of course it does. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can build a Gantt chart like this one over here, without using any custom visuals. Welcome to How to Power BI. My name is Bas, and if this is the very first time for you visiting this channel, then make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on all of my videos in which I share everything I know about Power BI. Now let's see how we can build a Gantt chart. Now I'm pretty sure that if you do some project management, that at some point you build a Gantt chart. And a Gantt chart is basically just a bar chart with one bar for each project or activity that shows where it starts and where it ends, and the duration. So as a starting point, we of course need some data with the different projects. So we have a project column here, the starting date, the duration, and the ending date. And then optionally, you can also have the category or the project status. Then in a data model, we have the project table connected to the date table on the basis of the start date and date column. Now let's get started by inserting a normal stacked bar chart. Okay, so that's the first visual that you find here in the visualization section. And then on it, we are going to place, first of all, the different projects. So I take project, put it on the axis. And then we can take the duration in days and put that one onto values. Okay, so now you see here on the left-hand side, we have all of the different projects and we see here the duration. Now let's sort them in ascending order. So I go here to sort by project, and I want to have them in ascending order. So now we have a bar chart that shows the durations for each different project. However, to turn this bar chart into a Gantt chart, we have to change the starting points for each bar relatively to the overall starting date. Now let me show you what I mean. I'm going back to my chart and I'm going to take over here the starting date and put it into the tooltips. So if I hover over project A, you can see that the starting date there is the 15th of August 21. And then for project B, we have as a starting date the 21st of August 21. So 21 minus the 15, 6 days difference. So that means I want to move the bar for project B 6 days to the right. Okay, now to do that, we first need a measure that finds the overall starting date because we will be scaling everything to that starting date. Okay, so let's insert a new measure and let's call this one overall start date. Now for this measure, we want to find the minimum starting date. Now we cannot leave it like this because we have a filter context on the visual for project. Okay, and if we would leave it like this, it would find the minimum starting date for that project. So to get rid of any filter, we need the calculate function. And here we can say calculate the minimum starting date and then remove any filter that we have. So remove filters. And then let's close a function and that's it. So this will give us the overall starting date. So that was measure number one. Now we need another one that will check the starting date for each project and compare that to the overall starting date. And then basically calculates the number of days difference. And that is how many days we need to push the bar to the right. Okay, now let's write this measure. And let's call this measure padding left. Now let's create some variables. And the first one is going to store the overall start date. And for this, we already created a measure, overall start date. Now, then we need a variable that returns the starting date for the project. Okay, so here we have the start date for the project. And as a formula, we can just recreate basically what we had before. So we have calculate. We want to find the minimum start date of the project. And then we need also to remove the filters. But here we have the difference because we don't want to remove all of the filters, but we want to keep especially that project filter. And to do that, we only remove the filter from the date table. Okay, so now I close my calculate function and this will return the starting date for each project. Next, we need to calculate the difference between the starting date of the project with the overall starting date. Okay, so let's store this in a variable called result. And you can simply take the start date minus the overall start date. Now, as both of them are dates, we also need to wrap this inside of an int function to turn it into an integer. All right, now let's indent this a little bit, just like this, and then return the result. So now we have our padding left measure, which will push the duration bars to the right. Now let's see how that works. So I'm going to take padding left and put it right above duration. And you see the dark blue bars, those are the ones that I want to show. Now the light blue bars, those I want to make invisible. Now to do that, we just go here to format and then data colors, padding left, make it white. And boom, there you go, we have our Gantt chart. However, it's still a little bit ugly. So let's make some formatting changes. So here under format, first of all, let's go and turn off the legend. Then also here, let's update the titles. So I go to the x-axis and scroll down a little bit. And then here we have the axis title. Let's say that we want to have here the duration in days. So duration in days. And then we can also turn off the grid lines for the x-axis. So a little bit more down. There we have grid lines. Let's turn it off. Now then here on the y-axis, it's clear that we have there the project. So let's get rid of the title there. So go to y-axis and then turn the title off. Then let's also change the color of these bars. So for data colors, the duration days, let's make it blue. And then the overall title we can also update. And here we have the project timeline. So let's say project timeline. And let's make it also blue and a little bit bigger. So let's put the text size to 20. Now, if you like, we can also turn the data labels on so that we can see the duration on the bars themselves. And over here, we can also make use of the zoom slider, which is in this case kind of nice because over here you can now zoom in and zoom out on the Gantt chart. Now here under the zoom slider, we have more options. For example, we can say slider tooltips, which is also kind of nice here because then you see exactly where your Gantt chart would end. And so after 45 days, for example. Okay, so our Gantt chart starts to look a little bit prettier, but of course we can do still a little bit better. For example, it would be nice to have a line that shows where we are. So basically a constant line for today. Now, to do that, we first need a measure again. So let's create another measure and let's call this one constant line. So CL for today. And here we can follow again the same logic. First, we need a variable that returns the date of today. So over here, let's call it today and use the today function. Then we need a variable that finds the overall starting point. And so we have here overall start date. And for this, we already have a measure, the overall start date measure. Then we need to return the difference between the two. So we calculate over here the result variable, which is going to be the difference between the today starting point minus the overall starting date. So over here we have the overall starting date. And we want to return an integer because we don't want to have a date, but an integer value. All right. Now let's return the result. And then we can go back to a chart, analytics, constant line, and add the constant line for today. Now the magic comes from the FX button that you find here under value, right? So let's click on it. And here we can say that we want to format by a field value and base it on the field that we just created. So let's go to project, constant line today, and click on OK. Now, there you go. This is where we are today. Now, let's format it a little bit differently. So let's go for an orange color so it's more visible. Transparency 50, line style, let's go for solid. So now we know where we are today on a project timeline. However, we don't have a feeling for where the months start and end. Now here I could again make use of the constant lines and follow basically the same logic. So I'm going to copy that previous measure that we wrote for the today constant line. And then I'm going to insert a new one and just copy it in. Now let's start off by renaming today to month 1. So constant line month 1. Now over here, the today variable, I'm going to place one step below. All right. And the overall starting date we also need for this measure. However, of course, we don't need a variable for today, but here we need for month 1. And what we want to return is the end of the first month, which you can do with an end of month function, EOMonth. And here we can take as the first argument the overall starting date. And then as a second argument, we can say how many months we want to go to the future or to the past. Well, here we don't want to move at all, so we put in a 0. And then this gives us the end of the month, but I want to have the first day of the next month, so therefore +1. All right, then for the result, we can say that we want to have the difference between month 1 minus the overall starting date as an integer. And that's it. So now we go back to our chart, analytics, and then we can add another constant line. And this is going to be for month 1. All right, so here for the value, let's click on the FX button, field value, and then we refer to that measure that we just created, constant line month 1. Now let's then also update the formatting. So instead of blue, I go for, let's say, gray. All right, now I also want to show the name of the month. So this we can do by adding a data label. And then here for the text, I just want to show the name. But it shows me now month 1. Well, instead of month 1, let's rename it then to September. And the same thing I can do for the next month. So also here, I would have to create a separate measure. So let's copy the previous ones and then insert a new measure, paste it in here, and then we're going to have month 2. And then here we want to change the 0 to 1, and everything else can stay the same. You can update over here the name of the variables from month 1 to month 2. All right, now let's do the same trick. So over here, let's add another one. And let's call this one the October constant line. For the value, we're going to use that measure that we created before for month 2. And then also here we can update the formatting. So let's make it gray. All right, and then let's add a data label. And then here for the data label, we can use the name. So now we have brackets for the months as well. Of course, this approach is a little bit manual, but the alternative would be to overlap two visuals. And that's maybe not the prettiest. So that's why I'm showing you this alternative. Now let's add one more feature to our Gantt chart. Maybe you want to have some conditional formatting based on the status, because in our dataset, let's have a quick look. There we have project status, completed, delayed, open, and we could give these bars a corresponding color. All right, so let's go back to our visual and go to format and to data colors. Now, where's the conditional formatting button? It's not there. Why? Because we have used two measures on values. So that's not possible. So as a workaround, what we could do is create one separate measure for each status and then give different colors to the different series. So let's do this. I'm going to add a new measure, and the first measure is going to be for the duration of completed projects. Now here we want to check the project status. Well, to find the project status, we need a selected value or something like a max or a min, because for each project, there's only one status, it doesn't matter. So I can say max, and then look for the status column, project status. All right. And if this one is equal to completed, then I want to return the duration. So also here, I use the max function, but you could use the min function as well, because there's only one value. All right, and let's close the brackets. Now then I also need to create a measure for the status delayed and open. All right, so let's copy this, insert a new measure, then paste it in here. And then instead of completed, we are going to have one for delayed. And then once more. And for the last one, we are going to have open. So now we can go to our visual and take the duration of the completed projects and put it onto values. And you see it only returns a bar when the status is completed. Now, of course, we just need to add the remaining two. So that is one for the delayed projects and for the open projects. Now let's update the data colors. So I go here to format, data colors, the duration for the completed projects. I want to have in light blue. Then for the ones that are delayed in orange, that's fine. And then for the ones that are remaining or open, those in dark blue. And that's it. Here we have our Gantt chart and we can nicely zoom in, zoom out, whatever you like. Now then, as a last step, let's also fix the tooltip, because at the moment it just shows the project, duration, and earliest start date. So let's select the visual, and then over here under tooltips, let's rename earliest start date to start date. Okay, and then we can go and also take the ending date. So here, take the ending date and put that also on the tooltip. And here we want to rename it so that we don't have earliest. And now if we hover over one of the bars, you see the start and ending date, the duration, and the name of the project. And that's how you can create a Gantt chart using the native bar chart visual, so without having to touch any custom visuals. Now, I hope that you took some value out of this video. Then if you did, then consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, just post them in the comment section below. And I hope to see you in the next video.